poll the workforce and ask if things improved, you'll get somewhere between no, not at all, gotten worse, and on the best end, you may get, yeah, they've improved, but not in the way that the management promised they would.
Jeremy Kimbrell is an organizer in support of the Mercedes UAW election last week. Still, obviously, a UAW supporter. Been on the show before. Welcome back, Jeremy. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Glad to have you. We want to talk to you about the Tuscaloosa City Council race last week. That's kind of the big hook, but obviously there's a lot of other news going on in the world, so we're going to bury the lead a little bit, and we'll get to that here in a moment. Let's start with the bigger picture. Generally, things are crazy right now, and the world is in a state of flux, right? Tariffs, there's been a shift in posture towards electric vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. How is this affecting Mercedes in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, so the EV is kind of flopped. There's plans to move the production of that to other facilities because it's not really catching on enough to warrant production at the Vance plant. Also, our company, I guess, thinking that EVs was the future, they made a deal with China to allow them to build their own vehicle. So the Vance plant will be losing that production. I don't know if that's later this year or first of next year. So there's a lot of decisions, they're going to have to make there in the short term. With the EVs having the trouble, the combustion engine demand has picked up. So there is some increase in production at the Mercedes plant, but ultimately it's to be determined what the end result is.
Right. Didn't you mention something about, is there some of the production potentially going to be moving to China, or am I misremembering?
Oh, no. So all I can think is that the company thought that the EV would fill the void of capacity at the plant. And so they worked a deal out with China to give them their own style of car, China made for China. I think China accounts for over 30% of the production at the Vance facility. So that, though we still will be able to sell our cars in China, the belief is that they'll buy the cars made in China for them. So that's a production loss, pretty significant.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Well, wishing you all the best, obviously, down at the Mercedes plant in Tuscaloosa, and hoping that y'all are able to weather the storm. The UAW had an election at Mercedes in Tuscaloosa almost a year ago now. During the election, managers were, waving a bunch of carrots in y'all's faces, saying, oh, look, just give us a chance, right? We didn't know you were sad. We want to make it better for you. And so how much of those promises that well, let's start with what were the promises? What were the things that managers were waving in your face, saying like, oh, if you don't unionize, we'll do this and that and the other thing. What were those carrots, and how much of that has materialized?
Yeah, so some of the big ones were, they would let them choose what type of shift to work. We had a 3-shift operation out there for years, and they brought in these 10-hour shifts. I call it dynamic shifts, where you, when you do work, you work 10 hours a day, then or more, and then you have a couple days off during the week, and every few weeks it'll roll around and you'll have a long weekend, almost makes it like a holiday. So anyway, a lot of people had issues with that, and they told them they'd let them choose which shift they wanted. They also, threw out promises of more money, better benefits, those kind of things. And, the most significant thing that for me was that they promised to listen. During the campaign, there were so many bosses on the floor, workers couldn't even do their job for tripping over them. Of course, when the campaign ended, that continued for maybe a month. And then those shifts that they got to choose, they never took effect. They ended up putting them on the shift that they wanted them to have, according to production demand. The managers don't come to the lines anymore. They did give, the workers did get raises. The benefits didn't improve. They didn't increase the cost, which was definitely, good, because it usually goes up in some way every year. But overall, if you poll the workforce and ask if things improved, you'll get somewhere between no, not at all, gotten worse. And on the best end, you may get, yeah, they've improved, but not in the way that the management promised they would.
And how do you feel as far as what does that do for the potential of another campaign? Like is it what is the potential for another campaign at Mercedes? How are you feeling about that?
Well, there's no question there's going to be another campaign. You don't come 44% yes votes and then just say, well, that's it, and you go away. There's no doubt in anybody that knows anything's mind that we had overwhelming support at a point. But once the company, replaces the CEO, brings in the union busters, and makes all these promises, and the rallying cry for the company was give us a chance. And if you don't like it in a year, you can vote again. So, the workers that felt like they were misled or lied to, that are not strong union advocates, but do realize that that's the only alternative you have, are voicing their opinion that when they get to vote again, they're gonna stick to the yes vote this time. So that gives me hope. There is one fact that when you do run a campaign, when you pour your heart and soul into a campaign, and battle lines are drawn and you choose your side, that does have some impact. So it takes a little while to reorganize the foundation, but once that's in place and the workers are ready, there will be another campaign. And I will be surprised if the yes vote doesn't win when that time comes.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.
Which side are you on?